Hey guys, as many of you already know, PlanetScale has decided to kill its hobby plan. 8th of April is when it's gonna die. We need to have migrated our databases from there onto another platform, kinda like Neon here, which is free, just to keep them running without any costs. So today I'm gonna guide you over to this guide, which I've written specifically for people using PlanetScale, Prisma, who would like to migrate their database ASAP with as little effort as possible. Stay tuned and I'll show you how. Before starting, it's very important that you have the PlanetScale client set up and authenticated, because that's gonna save us the effort of having to handle SSL certificates when signing into your MySQL database. Right, so assuming you have that set up and you're using Prisma, we can continue. First things first, go into Neon Tech, register, create your Postgres database, and get your database URL. Then go into your Prisma schema, update the provider, and then drop in the new database URL in your environment variables. But be sure to set the schema name, because you will have a public schema by default here, and Prisma will use that instead of your newly created one. If you want to get rid of the default public schema, just use this. It's gonna drop it real quick. Also, when you go in your Prisma schema, you do have to update like those primitive types, because Postgres doesn't have the same ones MySQL does. As soon as you're done with those things, you have to do Prisma push, and then you have synced your schemas. Then you need to download pgloader and install it, and you can use brew or whatever else you're familiar with. The objective here is to run pgloader with the two database URLs, the one we're importing from and the one that we're importing to. Now, it's not gonna be that easy, stay tuned. You will probably have this error saying that you couldn't connect to the PlanetScale MySQL database. That's the SSL certificate thing. Right, so next thing you have to do is use your PlanetScale client within your terminal to connect to that database and the branch of the database you want to copy things from. As soon as you've connected to the database's branch on PlanetScale, your PlanetScale client will say this. And that's our in, guys. Now we don't need the SSL certificates. Right, so once you've gotten your PlanetScale MySQL database URL for the branch that you want to migrate from, you do have to change this small bit here, just to ensure that you're going to connect to it through the secure tunnel. Now, to set up your Neon Postgres database URL, you're gonna have to do something which they've documented on their platform, and that's essentially looking at the database URL that you've taken from your dashboard, pick out this bit, which will be different for you, but it will follow a similar pattern, and you need to prepend it to your password. And when prepending it, you need to add endpoint equals and a semicolon. After that, your URL is ready. You can throw that into pgloader, but be sure to add these two flags, because these arguments will tell Postgres to keep the column names lowercase or camel case, just as they were in the MySQL schema. And also, data only will make sure that it only copies the data, it doesn't try to copy the schema, because remember, we used Prisma to copy that schema over. So we already have the schema set up for Postgres, we just need the data, and pgloader will intelligently know how to copy over the data. If you've done everything correctly, this is how the final command should look like, where going through it, you have pgloader with two arguments, one telling it pay attention to the casings on the table names. The second tells pgloader to only copy the data from the source MySQL database. Because remember, Prisma already set up the Postgres database schema for us, so we don't need to copy that one as well with pgloader. And here we have the MySQL source database URL, and we have the target database URL. Do note it is double quoted, and at the end of the Postgres database schema you do have SSL mode required. If you've done this successfully, then you should have seen, after a loading period, a nice table documenting how everything has been copied over from one table to another for each table on your database, from PlanetScale to Neon. And now you've successfully migrated from a MySQL database on PlanetScale to a Postgres database on Neon, thanks to pgloader and Prisma that made life easy.